Hello there, and welcome to another Starfield video. So today we're going to do a little bit of a kind of an update on Starfield. Just currently talk about some of the things that have happened, just regarding the new update and the kind of the major paid mod, which is Watchtower. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So obviously, Starfield got an update. Originally, it got an update. Ooh, I think it was like the 6th or the 7th of May on the Steam beta, and it was initially a quite small update. I think it was only like 2 gigs, and kind of the main features, obviously, for the player, there was a few creation kit updates, but the main feature was better performance. They added a very low setting, which people are speculating that is to do with potentially the Steam Deck and or, again, speculation here, the Nintendo Switch 2. With the rumors of Starfield going to PlayStation, which again, it's the Starfield going to PlayStation is a very plausible rumor. But Starfield going to Switch 2, we literally know very little. But yeah, some people have been speculating that that's why there was a very low graphic settings. Obviously, some people more plausibly it is for the Steam Deck, which makes sense. So the update came out on, it was originally postponed. It was supposed to come out last Tuesday, so that was the 20th, I believe. Was it the 20th? Oh, no. Oh, I can't click that one. Whoopsie, my bad. It was originally supposed to be the 20th, but it ended up... So it was supposed to be Tuesday, ended up going to Thursday, which coincided with the launch of Watchtower, Kingath Creations' newest paid mod. But yeah, so the update as a whole, one of the kind of the major improvements, and I've seen people, I've been playing with it myself, I've seen people, is Xbox improvement has been phenomenal. So prior to it launching, or prior to the update, Xbox was a kind of a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes the performance would be good, sometimes it would be kind of hit and miss. If you were using mods, certain areas, even without mods, certain areas like the well and neon could cause stutter, which kind of made it like unplayable, I suppose would be the best way of saying it. Now, these stutters also existed on PC. I've mentioned it a few times on Neon. I will occasionally have stutter. I had no idea what it was tied to. Some people speculated mods. I did some testing with and without mods, and the stutter would just kind of appear. Now, the stutter itself appears to be gone. I've tested more on Xbox, to be fair, than PC. But yeah, it's night and day. I know. Elevated, friend of the channel, was sharing some gameplay of their walk through the well with a fair amount of mods, and there was no stutter, which is really awesome to see. I did a few reviews on Xbox. I primarily review on Xbox, if and when I can, and to be honest, I'm obviously on PC right now, just for the kind of the camera mode. But I honestly couldn't tell the difference between my PC performance and my Xbox. Prior to the update, there was points where like Xbox has 60 FPS. That's where you can target 60 FPS, and then performance mode, which again boosts the FPS as much as possible. Now, on Xbox originally, some areas, yes, I would get 60. Some areas it would kind of dip a little bit, and it was quite noticeable. Now on my PC, which I have pretty good specs, I've got a 4070 Super and a Ryzen 7700 and 32 gigs of RAM. I aim for 4K 60, and I get a stable 4K 60. But yeah, prior to the update, let's say I was getting, I'd say most locations I was getting the nice kind of 60 something a drop. After the update, it's indistinguishable. Like, honestly, like, I was doing a couple of recordings and I had to kind of double check that I was on Xbox. I tried to use console commands and realized. So yeah, now obviously people are probably going to disagree with me, like, that's some bullshit, Crimson. My fucking Ryzen 9900 XTYZ can run the game way better than your Xbox 360 Pro, and to that I say, go fuck yourself. But no, like, obviously it'll vary depending on what you're doing. Like, I tend to, when I play on Xbox, I tend to kind of use very little mods, if any, because a lot of the time I'm reviewing specific mods. Now, mods can obviously hinder your performance. But for the most part, it seems like Bethesda have done a W by improving the performance. Now, alongside the updates, the update was originally supposed to go live on the Tuesday, but it ended up being postponed till the Thursday. And on Thursday came probably one of the greatest paid mods we've gotten in terms of, I think, I'll say, just to be fair, because obviously when it comes to paid mods, there's like different categories of paid mods. I think that I made the conscious decision when I put out my videos on Watchtower to call it a DLC, because it felt more like a DLC to me. It was like over 6 hours of content just on one story. You know, you can obviously replay. Added a load of awesome new features. Now, when I did do my playthrough, Kingath sent me a build. He was sending me multiple builds to kind of, you know, I was nervous to update to the most recent build every time he would send it to me, because I didn't want to lose my progress. So I was using the oldest version of the build, and I had very little problems. I think the only problem I had was a minor issue where I accidentally swapped my ships in the fleet manager, and it resulted in me getting stuck. Now I was able to, that's actually a base game issue that can happen sometimes. And then the only other really issue I had was a bit of FPS drop. But for the most part, it was flawless. It was really good story. I enjoyed. It added a fleet mechanic similar to a fleet commands mechanics we've seen. It also added sky drops. They're like orbital stuff. I've done multiple videos on it, and I will be doing more. I think when this video goes live, I still have to do videos talking about the ship section, because, you know, the ships are awesome. But yeah, for the most part, there's been very little issue. I know there's one issue that I was talking to Kingath about, and he's aware, but when they made when they were making the mod, they didn't have access to the new version of the game. And when Bethesda updated the new version of the game, there was a bug on Xbox that can result in you, I think it's specifically to do with the generation of rocks on the specific planet. It can result in you getting stuck. Now, that does suck. I didn't have that on my issue, but I was obviously playing an older build. I've seen a few people mention it. I don't know how prevalent it is, but Kingath is aware of it, and him and his team have been on to Bethesda, and they're going to try and push out an update as soon as possible. So yeah, aside from that, I've seen very little issue. Now, the thing is, when anytime a mod comes out in general, there's always a concern when you're a mod author, is trying to make sure that it runs as smoothly and operates as seamlessly as possible. Now, to my experience playing Watchtower, I had very little issues. I went back and played on a newer version of it, still had very little issues. People were saying they were having issues, but see, a lot of the time, and again, I'm not going to discredit, because when it comes to mods and stuff in general, there is a chance a mod might just have issues regardless of what you do. So even if you're running vanilla with only one mod, their issues can occur. But it seems like a lot of the issues people were having was a case of people were going in with a full load order of like 100 plus mods, and then conflict issues would happen. Now, if you were doing that, and this is something I will always recommend, because we'll talk about it more in a little bit in the next kind of part, but whenever a big update hits, mods break, and that's just how it is. Every time Bethesda updates the game, they're updating it, they're changing things, mods will break. Now, usually mod authors will be able to tweak it, you know, very simply, usually, as long as Bethesda doesn't sorry, I have to move a little bit. As long as Bethesda doesn't change anything drastically, but yeah, as long as Bethesda doesn't change anything drastically, like, it's a pretty simple fix, you know, for the mod authors. But that being said, for the benefit of you, the player, I always recommend having a save that is vanilla, you know, no mods, for potential updates, just in case. Let's say, for instance, like with Shattered Space came out, and a lot of people couldn't play it because of their mods not being updated, and it caused issues. Now, I don't know, I can't remember if I did a video specifically, but I always mentioned it on stream. When Shattered Space is coming out, I have a vanilla save with no paid mods at all, just completely vanilla Starfield. I think technically the only thing I have for it was the two pre-order DLCs from pretty much, and that's pretty much it. So with Watchtower, and with any sort of like quest mod that comes out, or any sort of mod, if you're really excited to play it, I would always recommend having, specifically for new updates, obviously a vanilla, as much as vanilla experience as possible. Now here's the thing, with paid mods essentially being achievement friendly, players are more inclined to add these to their load order. Like, let's say for instance, Watchtower paid mod, it's achievement friendly. People might say, well, I'm going to add that to my vanilla playlist. You know, we could have Xenomaster achievement friendly, I'm going to add that to my play or to my mod load order. You could have all these different achievement friendly, but the thing to remember is, just because they're achievement friendly, just because they're vanilla, doesn't mean that they're going to operate when the new update comes out. There's a high probability that they're going to not function, and they're going to require the mod author to directly update them. So that's why I always recommend that. Now, because there was people out there that were kind of complaining, like, oh, couldn't play Watchtower because my 500 load order wasn't working. And like, I understand, like, people like their mods and people like their load orders, but I feel like if you have a very heavily modded version of Starfield, specifically a version that might use the script extender, or even not use the script extender, whenever a new update comes out, and if you are dead set on playing that update with your modded playthrough day one, be prepared for issues. And if issues arise, ultimately there's nothing that can be done. Like, I've seen some comments of people who would like complain whenever Bethesda update their game, and like be like, how dare Bethesda update their game, you know, they're breaking my mods. And it's like, I want to say the Lion, the Witch, and the Audacity. Sorry, that sounded cooler in my head, but yeah, like, I think it's very audacious to kind of expect Bethesda not to update their game when, yes, there is a portion of us, myself included, who love mods, but we also want Bethesda to update the game and improve and add on to the game, you know? Like, though, that sort of like take of like, you know, like, oh, Bethesda, they're ruining my mods with their updates. It's like, honestly, that's very ignorant. Again, there's nothing stopping you. Like, here's the thing, right? I believe if you're on PC, technically you could probably get around the updates and stuff, and you're kind of good to go. I know some games will do that. But yeah, don't expect Bethesda to not update their game, because I think most of the like actual fans of the game, not saying that, you know, if you say that you're not a fan, but I suppose it does beg the question of like, you know, do you not want the game to improve? Like, I think people that have this, and look, my channel is very heavily mod content, but people have this mentality where they think that like mods are going to make Starfield better, which to some extent, yes, mods can make Starfield a better experience, but Starfield is in a position now where like it has a load of good features, but there's obviously some glaring issues, one of which being we've got no real major content drops in like nearly 6-7 months. Mods won't fix that. Watchtower was amazing, still not going to fix that. Like, ultimately Bethesda are the ones that myself, and I'm assuming most fans, want to see that what they're going to do, you know? We want to see the game evolve. Bethesda evolving the game, not anyone else. And yeah, so that being said, like, again, going back to it, if you're the sort of person, if you're watching this video, right, and look, you enjoy using mods, but you're also excited because there will be potentially a new update coming in the next couple of weeks, potentially, I don't know any inside information, I'm just guessing, and you want to experience it day one, have a vanilla playthrough. Have a character, like I have a character, let me see if I actually know if I press the button. I have a save that is just vanilla. There's no mods whatsoever. It's what I use for getting achievements and stuff, and just kind of playing the base game. I don't play it that much because I'm a big fan of my shipbuilding mods. But when Shattered Space came out, I swapped back to my vanilla vanilla playthrough and we're messing around. You know, so just, I would say always have a save that is completely vanilla, and, you know, play the update on that, just so you can get to experience it without any issues. Now look, after a couple of days, most of the updates will be fixed, you know, and the mods will be good to go. and then you can have your giant giant Amazonian women mods and your Gary selling you Aurora mods. You know, like give it time to update. But yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of that. Watchtower, going back to Watchtower, it's awesome. I think that they definitely set the standard again with their mod. I called it a little bit. I've been calling it a DLC, and I initially had that in the title of the videos surrounding Watchtower, but some people kind of got the wrong idea. They didn't realize that in brackets it said mod, paid mod. So I just removed that because it got a lot of comments of people saying, we've waited 7 months and this is all we got, which, to be honest, Watchtower is definitely awesome, but if a company like Bethesda had have put out content like that after 7 months of nothing, I too would have been kind of like, okay, Bethesda, what's, that's a cool update, but where's the rest, But yeah, so I changed it because I think it is obviously Kingath and his team did a tremendous job, and it is definitely amazing. But I'm excited to see how Bethesda will kind of go and how it'll intertwine with what Bethesda's doing, because we know that there's going to be some slight spoilers here about it, but I'm going to not really touch on them too much. Let's say there may be spoilers. We know that Bethesda is working on supposedly a Starborn related expansion. I say expansion loosely because we're not really sure. We know that they patented the term Starborn. Now that could just mean that they're just keeping the idea safe, or keeping the IP, or the IP safe. More than likely, it means we're going to be getting a new update. What ship was that just flew past? That looked cool. But yeah, so that being said, I'm recording this on the 26th of May. The 8th of June, there is going to be an Xbox showcase that is basically the equivalent of E3. It's going to be on Sunday. I believe the 8th is Sunday. Let me just double check. Was the 8th Sunday? Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Yes, the 8th is Sunday. I believe it's Sunday at, I want to say it was 6 p.m. GMT. So around the time I usually do my kind of Oblivion streams. So that's coming out. We know Starfield, well, we're going to assume Starfield will be at it. Let's put it this way. I'm 99% sure Starfield will be at it, because we've heard nothing from Bethesda aside from, a couple of weeks ago that they've got stuff in the works, and we'll know soon enough. That would be the perfect platform to highlight, what's going on, what we're getting, new content, all this stuff. Now, obviously, as a fan of Starfield, there's a part of me that will be grateful for new, first of all, just to see what's coming. Second of all, to get our hands on new content. But there is a part of me that kind of hopes that there'll be more than that. I would like to know what Bethesda, specifically why they've been radio silent. There's the ship again. What ship is that? Oh, it's nighttime. Like, Bethesda have been radio silent for, well, up until probably 2-3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. They've been radio silent for half a year. And I know a lot of people have been kind of going the route of, oh, Bethesda, they like shadow dropping stuff. They like shadow dropping Oblivion. Like, I guess that's cool in some way with a game like Oblivion, when it's just ready to go and there's nothing really going to be added to it. But shadow dropping content updates for Starfield out of the blue, went in one way, yeah, that's cool, but at the same time, I feel like Bethesda need to kind of level with us of what's going on. They used to have their little Vidocs where they would talk about the updates. That just kind of went out the window. The idea they put forward, which I believe was they were trying to get an update out every 6 weeks, I don't think that was feasible, and I understand why they pulled back from it, because every 6 weeks is a bit of a stretch, because you what are you adding? Is it just gonna be bug fixes? Is it gonna be patches? You can't reasonably 6 weeks keep adding content like that. It wouldn't feasibly, it wouldn't make sense, specifically because you'd have to beta test it first, and then Now so we're more than likely going to see some Starfield stuff. And this is speculation, my hope is that they're going to they're going to show us an expansion trailer that will probably be coming same time as Shattered Space, so it'll be coming around September, October, and hopefully they will basically, at the end, they will show us a trailer for a new update that will go live after the event, so like a kind of a shadow drop, which would be amazing. Now, honestly, as a fan, I think that's the least we should be getting, a new update and like a kind of a trailer to what's coming. What I would like to see, like I said, is I would like to see Bethesda do the Vidocs again and just address why have they been silent. The PlayStation update or the PlayStation drop that's supposed to be coming, that's going to be substantial for Starfield because that's going to quadruple the numbers. But the issue is those people will play Starfield, right? They're going to play it like crazy for a couple of months, and then there'll probably be a portion of them that will be like the portion playing on PC and playing on Xbox, where we'll keep playing, we'll keep the game going, but it's going to be kind of like we're the naive few hoping that something will come our way. The vast majority are probably gonna, if there's no kind of talk about what's coming next prior, past the expansion, a lot of them are probably going to treat it like, oh, this is a single player game and move on. And I know you're probably gonna be like, Crimson, this is a single player game. Yes, it is. But as I've said many times, Bethesda have kind of catered this as more of a kind of a, I don't want to say a live service game, but it was supposed to be a game that kind of lasted like a lot longer, like had a 10-year lifespan. And with that in my mind, and again, they haven't really iterated or reiterated too much of what that means. To me, that kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Destiny style thing where every couple of months they'll get a new update, maybe new quests, new stuff. And for the most part, prior to Shattered Space, that's looked like what we were getting. We got the trackers update, we got the map update, the vehicle update. And then nothing. So hopefully it'll go back to that, but realistically, I'm not sure. At the very least, I would like Bethesda to give us a very loose roadmap of what's to be expected. Like we're going to be getting an update, hopefully, and then we're going to be getting expansion. Like what's after the expansion? Like I'm not saying they need to tell us like the plot points of what's coming out in the next 4 expansions, but just like a time frame of like, okay, look, we're getting this update out today. It's going to focus on list, and it's going to be about list. There's going to be new ship parts. We're going to have the expansion coming out in autumn winter that's going to focus on this character. It's going to have new characters, new weapons, new ship parts, new ship manufacturers. I'm just using an example. At Christmas, we're going to have a new update too, where we're going to plan on add some more Trackers Alliance stuff, something like that, just to kind of give us a brief. Like they don't have to give us set, like it's coming out on this day. Just a simple, like, we're trying to aim for Christmas time, holiday season. We're going to try and get an update out in spring that hopefully will add like maybe some new plants, new animals. I'm just making an example here, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping. Now, again, whether or not we know, we won't know. I will say that I am excited for the Xbox Showcase for reasons other than Starfield, because there's a few other games. So I will be streaming that, and I will be kind of making that known closer to the day, just so you can be aware. So if you are interested, we'll hop in. We'll chat on stream like last time, and I'll wonder why a mobile game got like 10 minutes and Starfield got 30 seconds with no trailer. Please don't do that again to me, Tim. Please, Tim. But yeah, that's I think that's pretty much everything. But yeah, I want to say, obviously, the new update has been really nice, and I think it coinciding alongside Watchtower, which I think that was very much Bethesda's idea. I've seen there's been some rumors and speculation that like, Watchtower was made like in part by Bethesda or like all these other stuff. Watchtower had nothing to do with Bethesda. Bethesda did advertise it because it's, King Gath and his team have worked closely with Bethesda in the past. They made the Doom mod for Bethesda, but Watchtower was its own entity, and it's at the end of the day, it was just a paid mod that was on the larger scale that Bethesda advertised. They did a good job coinciding the update, and I think that's why they pushed the update forward to Thursday, because they wanted it to be as kind of seamless as possible. And I think that has kind of brought a lot of players back in, and I think Bethesda, if you're watching this, which probably not, if you are, thank you, also ship parts, but I think that you need to keep this momentum going, because if we can get another banger update in in 2 weeks time that adds like more new content, or new content. I won't say more new content because Bethesda hasn't really added anything new aside from fix it. And then that leads to the idea of a PlayStation launch, which will eventually, I'm assuming, have some new content too. And that would lead to the new expansion. Like, if you can keep that momentum going, like, you're going to regain a lot of the fans that were fans of this game, but ultimately kind of stepped aside because of, you know, various reasons. Like, they didn't like how the lack of communication stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching the channel and kind of being with me on this journey through Starfield. We're obviously we're getting set for the new update, like I was saying. So I'm hyped. Let me know, are you guys hyped too? And if you are new here, or if you're kind of, you know, if you've been you haven't been engaged in Starfield as much, but you're kind of like hoping to come back, what's something that Bethesda could add that could realistically bring you back? Like, I know for me, obviously I am a fan of the game and I've been playing it kind of non-stop, but I'm very interested in obviously ship parts and ship-based stuff, as well as constant like story updates very big to me. That's why I was a big fan of Watchtower. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I think we're over 8K, which again, thank you guys very much for helping me reach that milestone, or helping me. You guys reach that milestone for me. I did fuck all. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And yeah, bye bye.